We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to the order for the Planning and Zoning Commission for Monday, November 7th, 2022 at 6:34 p.m. Appreciate all of y'all coming and bearing with us with the change of location and size of the facilities. Going to go ahead and roll call. I show 6 out of 7 members here. I'm going to introduce the agenda and the format of hearing. Ed Mohammed.
Thank you, Chairman of the Commission, Planning and Zoning Commission. Good evening. So I will start with some housekeeping items here. So the format of the hearing start with a call of order, which has already taken place. Then it will be followed by a staff report on the items on the agenda. Then the applicant will be the first one that will be given opportunity to speak, to present the project. And then it will be followed by the public hearing. And if you're a member of the public and you're here to speak on an item, just make sure that to state your name and address so the microphone can pick up that. And just be brief and to the point, and you'll be given 3 minutes time frame. All comments shall be about the project and no personal attacks. Then after the public hearing will be closed, and that will be followed by a commission and a staff discussion. And then the commission afterward will take a vote to recommend approval as presented, or approval with conditions, or to deny the request. They could also table the project to another meeting. The city council eventually will take the case, and that will be on November 21st if the case moves forward. So that will be 2 weeks from today. And for tonight, we have the consent agenda, which will include excusal of the absence of Commissioner Earls and McCatherine from the previous meeting, and then also approval of the P&Z regular meeting from October 17. Then the new business, we have only one item on the agenda tonight, and that is conditional use permit number 22-24. That's for a convenience store in conjunction with a proposed gasoline station within the light industrial district. And the property is located on the east side of Veterans, just to the at the intersection of Fight Road and Veterans Road, just to the south of that intersection. With that, I will turn it back to the chairman.
Thank you, sir. As mentioned, we have the consent agenda. Is there anyone who would like anything removed from the consent agenda? Anything? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
I have a first and a second.
Second.
All in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. All right. Item number 6, new business. Commission input and discussion, conditional use permit application CUP 22-24. This is a public hearing, a request by TN Associates, Inc., applicant on behalf of Shahil Magnagia, owner, for the approval of the conditional use permit or CUP for convenience store use in conjunction with the proposed gasoline station on approximately 1.23 acres of land within the light industrial or M1 district. Approximate general location would be east of Veterans Road, north of Fight Road. Do I have a motion for approval? Oh, I apologize. This is a conditional use permit. There is none of. So just for everyone here to know, a conditional use permit for planning and zoning in particular is, we actually don't officially vote, but we carry a discussion. We allow for public comments and presentation by the applicant. And then at the end, we will have a discussion as far as how we would vote if we were able to. And then it would move on to council, as Mohammed mentioned as well, from there. So,
And you can make recommendations.
We can make recommendations and add to the discussion as well. So, at this point in time, this is the applicant's presentation, or I'm sorry, staff's presentation.
Thank you, Chairman. So I will go ahead and present the staff report. So again, stating the request again, it's a conditional use permit to allow a convenience store. It's a convenience store use in conjunction with the proposed gasoline station of approximately 1.3 acres of land located within the light industrial district. And location again, east of Veterans. It's on the east side, just to the south at the intersection of Veterans Road and Fight Road. And staff has received As of this afternoon, about 44 letters of opposition to the request, and a lot of them has been passed on to the commission. As you can see from the map on the screen, the area is, the subject property is denoted with the yellow line, and it is located within the light industrial zoning district. This is obviously a remnant piece from a larger industrial district that was in the area before those two subdivisions were developed. Again, the property is surrounded by residential uses and residential zoning almost from all four sides. This is the future land use plan. Again, the future land use plan is a guide for city decisions. The property is designated on the future land use plan for medium density residential. Obviously, the proposed use is incompatible with this particular designation. Moving on, a little bit of history on the property. This property was annexed into the city in 1960 and is currently undeveloped. It's never been developed before, and it's not platted as well. This is an aerial map, and it shows the property again surrounded by largely residential uses from almost all sides with some detention ponds. The southwest corner is a city-owned property. It's a city park. And the property, as you can see from the aerial, is heavily vegetated there. This is just a street view of the property. It is on the left side of the road. That's the way the vegetation is. This is taken from Veterans Road. This is another slide, another view taken from the intersection, just looking directly towards the property. These are the site plans that were presented in conjunction with this project, and the site plan reflects construction of approximately 4,000 square feet convenience store in conjunction again with the proposed 6-pump gas station. So on the left side, that's the overall site plan, and then on the right side of the screen, this is kind of a little bit of overblown site plan, and it shows the building towards the bottom. The rectangular shape, that's a 4,000 square feet building, and the pumps just to the north of it, and with a driveway, one-way driveway entering from one side and exiting from the other side. This is just kind of an enlargement to the northern portion of the property, and it shows that area. Some of it is preserved as a landscape buffer, and it will also contain a detention pond and a few parking spaces in that portion. This is a proposed landscape plan. Again, this is just showing how the property will eventually be landscaped. That's how the applicant intends to landscape the property. And moving on, these are some renderings of the gas station. Again, the gas station appears, the building's kind of modern building with some masonry veneer outlook, and with the gas pumps just to the north of it. So just a closer look at the convenience store. And just want to mention that the convenience store is the subject of the request. It's not the gas station. Gas station as a use is listed as allowable use in light industrial district. But the subject of the request is the convenience store, which is in conjunction with the gas station. So just want to make that clear. These are what we call the land use matrix, and it shows the consistency of the proposed request with adopted city plans. First one would be the comprehensive plan, future land use plan. As I stated earlier, this proposed use is inconsistent with the future land use designation of medium residential density. It is consistent with the thoroughfare plan. Veterans is designated as a secondary thoroughfare to be widened, and Fight Road is designated as a major collector with sufficient width. The property is platted, and the property has access to city utilities, water and sewer. These are the approval criteria for conditional use permits. There are 7 criteria that the Planning and Zoning Commission will be looking at, as well as the City Council, in making decisions for conditional use permits. And in staff's evaluation of the request, this use only meets 2 of the approval criteria, and it does not meet 5 of them. And including things like consistency with the district, the current applicable zoning district, the future land use plan as we just stated, and the character of the area, and as well as meeting the standard of the zoning district. So there are multiple criteria here. The use meets only 2 of those criteria. And with that, as we mentioned, the use meets only 2 of the criteria, and it's not consistent with future land use plan. For those reasons, staff wasn't supportive of the request and could not recommend approval of this request. And however, should the commission choose to approve the request, the staff recommends approval with conditions. Those conditions include the exterior building facade shall be developed in substantial conformance with the material as depicted in the facade renderings. Also, ornamental trees shall be planted along the east property line to incorporate additional landscaping into the site. And the last one, the columns that are underneath the canopy shall also be wrapped up with masonry material that's consistent with the building. With that, I will conclude my presentation, and I will turn it back to the chairman.
Thank you, Mohammed.
Sorry, if I may, I just wanted to remind the Planning and Zoning Commission that the site plan is illustrative only. The conditional use permit is not tied to that. I think both reminding y'all and informing the public, whether they get 2 driveways or not, that's not reviewed until it gets to the permitting process and verifying whether it complies with all of those requirements. Things like drainage, just building code issues, those are all reviewed if the conditional use permit gets granted by city council. After plans are submitted, then those things will be reviewed. Things like drainage, things like driveways, making sure that the trees are there the way that they're supposed to be, or landscaping and all the setbacks. So although you saw a site plan, that is not part of the application. You're not approving any site plans today.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is the applicant here for a presentation?
Yes.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind, you'll have to apologize again.
And I'll just say this for everybody. We have to record the meeting tonight.
Yeah.
We're in an alternative location, so we don't have the microphones and the podium the way we normally would. So when the chair calls your name, if you please come on up and step up so that we can be sure to capture your comments. It is a quasi-judicial proceeding. We have to record your comments in order to pass them on to city council and to preserve a record. So we need your voice to be able to be heard on the microphone.
Yep. Thank you, legal counsel. Appreciate it. And if you would, when you arrive up here for your presentation, if you'd state your name and your address.
Okay, do I face this way?
Yeah, you probably face us.
Okay. All right.
And if you would like a particular slide for the presentation, let me know and I can put it.
Sure, that would work. My name is Chan Huynh. I'm representing TN Associates, Inc., and I represent the developer of the property. I would say that our intention is to have a convenience to the neighborhood with convenience store and gas station. Our building type or typology would be of masonry, 100% of masonry. It will be a Class B plus building type, and rather than a regular metal building would say, it would be a completely melt-in or formatted in a way to balance the neighborhood with materials that relates to the neighborhood or the housing around there. We are actually planning to get rid of whatever the detention pond on surface and go underground detention so that we can provide more landscaping back to the piece of land. So instead of any detaining ponds, we were going to go back with landscaping to minimize the disturbance of the existing land, that is. So that is the whole intention of the use of the land. We understood that there's some guidelines we have not. I guess the land is irregular, but we will go to variance after if the CUP is approval at that time. Okay. I think the slides of the rendering have already been seen, and that is the type of, I guess, quality of materiality that we were planning to use. Again, nothing will be built until it's approved by city review, obviously. Okay?
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, this is the part where we have those wishing to speak for or against this particular item. We did receive 44 comments via email. We've all received those and reviewed them as well. And we have 11, I believe we have 11 comment cards, is that right? Okay, and so what I'll do is I'll call your name again. If you'll step to the center area, state your name and your address. You'll have 3 minutes to make your case or your discussion. I would like to point out, if you agree with the person that previously spoke with you, you're welcome to step up and say, I totally agree with everything they said in your own verbiage, and that's plenty. We'll get the point. So if you have your own discussion, however you want to handle it, you have 3 minutes to do so. So again, if you'd like to speak, there's a green comment card over there. If we have to, if you fill that out, slide to Shelby, and we'll get you added to the back of the list and come to you next. So first one I have in front of me is Mr. Alan Shipley.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Alan Shipley, 4208 Leisure Lane in Twin Lakes. I have to say I'm definitely opposed to this project. As someone with young children who makes frequent visits to convenience stores, especially in the middle of the night, I see no need for one closer than the ones that I already have available to me. I think this is something that causes unnecessary traffic and attracts unnecessary attention to our neighborhoods. And on top of that, the comments made about the retention ponds, especially moving in the week Harvey happened, make me even more opposed to this project, as that does not make me feel comfortable with the re-landscaping of the land that is already being re-landscaped by other neighborhoods going up in the nearby area. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Next, I have Raul Gonzalez on Brazos Bend.
My name is Raul Gonzalez, 4210 Brazos Bend Drive, 77584. I am opposed to this project that's coming up due to the, as previously stated, that we don't need the people to come more there in our area to make it attractive to more traffic and possibly crime possible. We already have 3 convenience stores within half a mile or less. That's sufficient for us when we go. And that's what I'm opposed. Also, the bird migration that we have there, I feel that with present there, it won't be there anymore. We have alligator problems there that come up. That could present a problem to people in the area that's there. The people may come up. So that's a possibility. That's it.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your time. Next is, looks like James Trisna? Okay. Apologize.
Good evening. My name is James Trisna. I live on 4303 Summer Lane in Twin Lakes subdivision. I lived here for about 15 years. And I specifically chose the side of Pearland for how quiet it is and how much less traffic it has compared to 288. I understand how East Pearland has grown and the importance of adding business to the area, but I strongly oppose building a convenience store in front of my neighborhood and hope that you deny the approval of CUP 2224. I believe that it will have a negative impact on my family and the neighbors, and here are the reasons why. Increase in traffic on Veterans Drive. It will increase traffic congestion in a two-way, single-lane road and create a safety issue for our children who walk and ride bikes in the area. That road is susceptible to damage from 18-wheelers and will create more damage as fuel trucks have to service the gas stations. With having a train on the railroad tracks on Walnut Street, a huge amount of cars will divert to Veterans Drive to get to Magnolia Parkway to go over the bridge. This creates a gridlock, and when you add a convenience store to the mix, it will be very frustrating to get out of our neighborhood. Increase in crime, I believe that it will attract loitering and will put our homes at risk of break-ins, with one of our entrances being feet away from the convenience store. It will also put our children at risk at the bus stops, which is, in close proximity to convenience stores, creating possible harm. And I believe in the decrease in property value, having a convenience store really close to a neighborhood has historically decreased the value of homes. The neighborhood will lose the curb appeal and a sense of privacy and security. I don't appreciate seeing a gas station from my bedroom window. At night, it will be bright and noisy. And I believe that's gonna, you're gonna see an increase in trash and rodents in my neighborhood. So, I definitely appreciate if you oppose CUP 2224. Thank you.
Good job.
All right, next speaker's card I have now is for Stephen Johnson on, looks like Leisure Lane.
Okay. Well, I got a tattoo too. Stephen Johnson, 4206 Leisure Lane. I pretty much mirror what everybody else has said. One of the biggest things, like people that are living close to that convenience station, light pollution. I don't know if y'all seen any of the other gas stations that are around. Everybody that's backed up are gonna have a ton of light going into their house. And you know how bright LEDs are. I mean, I don't live that close to where this site is, but I feel for everybody else that lives right there. I wouldn't want that bright light coming in my room or my house. So, like I said, everybody else that's been up here, I mirror their same.
Thank you. This would be, next card I have is for Andrew Johnson on Leisure Lane as well.
Andrew Johnston, 4102 Leisure Lane, and I just want to echo what everybody else says. I oppose this gas station being there. I looked earlier, there's 6 other gas stations and convenience stores less than 2 miles away from this location, so there's not really any need for anything even more convenient to go in around here, so that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Next speaker's card I have is Vanessa Caceres.
I'm at 4209 Leisure Lane. I
And
agree.
You're Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa, yeah.
Okay.
I agree with everything all my other neighbors have said. I'm born and raised here in Pearland for the past 42 years. I live in Twin Lakes because of the location that it's at. Our neighborhood is it's quiet, even though, we do have quite a bit of traffic on Veterans. But it almost, to me, it feels like a violation of our own privacy, and our own homeliness. So I oppose.
Next speaker's card I have is for Erica Lopez.
Hi, I'm Erica Lopez. I'm at 4309 Summer Lane. I oppose the proposed development. Y'all covered some of my concerns in your criteria with the red nose on it, so thank you for that. I will echo Mr. Shipley's concerns and Mr. Gonzalez's concerns about kids. I am a single mom. I frequently take my kids by foot to Centennial Park and down Mary's Creek Trail. I don't know that I would feel secure doing that by foot with this there. I was glad to hear there's another bird lover. We do have a lot of really interesting birds in those trees and shrubs. I saw a belted kingfisher a few months ago, and that was a real treat. So that is also one of my concerns. But, thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker's card I have is for Miss Amanda Mata.
Hello, I'm Amanda Mata, and I live at 4309 Twin Lakes Trail. That would be my house right there behind that station. I agree with everything that everyone has said tonight. I have a few bullet points, like the traffic and the road conditions. Our road is, it's been repaired many, many times, several times, big potholes and things. I don't see how the big trucks would be able to come down that far. The noise at my house would be terrible, just from the cars at the gas station pulling in and out. It would be horrible. And the big trucks, the lights, as you could see, the lights would just be shining all day and night in my at my house. The crime, like my kids walking the dogs, I would be very, very nervous about that, especially with just some bushes separating it. I mean, that's pretty bad. My son waiting for the bus in the dark in the morning, it's another concern. And flooding. Flooding's a very big issue. During Harvey, that strip of land really saved us from, can we do the aerial view?
Here, do you want mine?
Well, if you can put it up. So these two ponds here became one humongous lake. And it breached on that end over there. And the only reason it did not breach in front of my house and these other houses is because of this strip of land. All that water ran there. I have video of it. I mean, the water was up to our driveways. And if not for that piece of land, we would have flooded, for sure. And we are not in a flood zone. Another big concern of mine is pollution. The National Institute of Health states that the higher ozone levels can lead to respiratory problems and asthma, while benzene is known to cause cancer. The National Library of Medicine writes that repeated high exposure to gasoline, whether in liquid or vapor form, can cause lung, brain, and kidney damage. We already have an Exxon 0.6 miles away from my house. Sitting in my house, I looked at all of these. We have a Buc-ee's 0.5 miles away. We have an M&A gas station 0.6 miles away. We have a Citco 0.6 miles away. A Chevron 1 mile away. A Circle K 1 mile away. Chevron 0.8 miles away. A Valero 0.9 miles away. I could have kept going, but I just stopped at 1 mile. And of course, my last bullet point here is property value and how it will bring it down. I don't know how I'll be able to ever sell my house and retire or leave it to my kids and, you know, hope that the water isn't polluted and that we have no more birds to look at. That was my birthday present, was really nice binoculars from my husband, because I live right there. I just sit and watch all these birds, you know, all the time. I love it.
That's more than 3 minutes. but
Thank you.
very much. Yes, ma'am. The next speaker is Miss Gracie Ray Mata.
Okay, I am Grace Mata, live at 4309 Twin Lakes Trail. Sir, if you wouldn't mind, could you go to the view without all of the...
Which one?
It's a couple slides before, maybe the slide before.
Before? The slide before. That one?
Keep going, right there. All right. So as she was saying, I live in the house right there on the corner of the entrance of Twin Lakes Trail. So I am directly across the street from this. I'm extremely concerned with how close this would be to my house. I would no longer feel safe walking my dog with the amount of complete strangers, not even a few feet away from me. I'm also worried about the kids who have to be at the bus stop in the dark, so close to this proposed convenience store, and someone with truly sick intentions would use this gas station as an opportunity to stalk and possibly kidnap someone from the neighborhood. We see young girls and boys get taken from public places all the time, and no amount of cameras or watchful eyes can stop a predator with the intention of taking someone, and this would just be way too big of a kidnapping and trafficking risk. Thank you.
Next speaker card I have is for Tina Diastoli.
That's me. You said it right. Hi. I'm Tina Diastoli, 4103 Twin Lakes Trail. Most of everybody has talked about what I was going to talk about. The other things that I would like to point out is the city has spent a lot of time developing the park and the park walks. And you're going to put a gas station right where the crosswalk is. We are already at a 3 stop right there. Pedestrians already have a problem. When y'all opened up Fight, not a problem with opening up Fight, but you created a lot of traffic coming between Fight and Walnut, which impedes us getting out of our intersection. You put a gas station right there, that's going to create even more traffic than what we are already dealing with. On top of what I think a gentleman already talked about is when our nice train stops. literally stops and blocks the traffic. And then we have all of that backup. I have sat, when that has happened, 5 minutes trying to get out of the neighborhood. We're a small neighborhood. It doesn't make sense when the city spends all that money to develop the parks and connect everything to impede that right there. The other thing is, we talked about the flooding and we talked about the bus stop, but we drop our children off right there to pick up the bus. You're gonna put them at a convenience store, just about, to be picked up at a bus stop. That makes absolutely no sense to me, and I don't understand it. We moved there in 2015, and this Veterans has been repaved twice. And you're gonna put gas station trucks coming up and down this part. Even if they come up through Magnolia, they're gonna come up into our area. The noise, the lights, everything. And then you take everything else into consideration. That's gonna impact our little small neighborhood. This is not the place. It is absolutely not the place. And I understand this is zoned for light industrial. If you have to have a cup, it truly needs to be residential. If you have to change a cup, light industrial is not it. Light industrial, any kind of industrial is not it. It needs to be something that is going to be neighborhood friendly. What y'all have got going on, what they've imposed to us right now is not it.
This is the last speaker's card I have, but Edward Rios?
They stole my thunder. Edward's my name. So we covered, oh, you know what? We didn't cover. All right. So,
Could you give us your name?
Oh, yeah.
Edward Rios. Edward, I thought I said that. Edward Rios is my name. I live at 4309 Leisure Lane. I've been there since the subdivision was built. So I'm one of the originals. So, yeah, you got all this neighborhood, and then you got this neighborhood, and then you got everybody that plays softball at night in the park. I mean, that's a lot of traffic. You know, and I understand you want to build a convenience store. It's not going to be convenient to us. The birds. I never was a bird lover. We got cardinals in our backyard, just everywhere. Kids right there on the corner in the morning and in the afternoon. No telling, you know, what kind of traffic you're going to get because there's a convenience store there. I think it's a danger to kids, and it will cause theft, vandalism. You know, you got Buc-ee's there, you got Exxon, you got a gas station on San Antonio. So, I oppose this.
Is there anyone else who has not filled out a speaker's card? Oh, that hasn't, okay. If you'll,
I filled it out, just didn't turn it in.
that's okay.
Can I read from it? Can I use it as for my
If I can borrow it and then
Okay,
just
it's
get your
okay.
name on record and then.
Sarah Singleton, I'm at 4204 Summer Lane, and I'm just trying to express my opposition to it. And it's pretty much the same points everyone else made, crime. I go past Buc-ee's at night to pick up my daughter from work, and there's always kids in the parking lot, whether it's open or closed. People are just loitering. So I don't see anything different happening in our neighborhood if that happens, so that's a big inconvenience. Everyone talked about birds. I haven't seen any birds, but I love coming into the subdivision and seeing the rabbits. I always see the rabbits coming in is a joy. Gas fumes, gas leaks, exposure, property value going down. I just need to express, no, this can't happen in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Anyone else who's thoughts on that?
I'll be the unpopular vote, Mona Malone. I'm with Infinity Real Estate Group. This property is,
And your address.
1000 Broadway, Suite 120,
Okay.
Pearland. So this property has been for sale for a really long time. It's a very odd-shaped property. And we know everybody would love to keep a field behind their house as opposed to anything developing, actually. It is industrial zoning, which of course does allow for the gas station. The buyer really thought the convenience store would be an improvement as opposed to just having a gas station. Of course, the city would address detention and lighting and all those things with deflectors. This is honestly probably one of the least intrusive industrial uses that could go there. They felt like this was, and I know it does back to 2 houses toward the end, but they felt like the other mostly back to the ponds and would be a better location. We know the city is very selective on where they want gas stations and convenience stores for all those reasons. Thank you.
One more, all right. Thank you. Just state your name and address.
All right, Glenn Salter, 4506 Marine Park Drive. So I'm also opposed to putting a convenience store gas station in this area. It's been noted a couple of times about safety, the intersection of Fight and Veterans. We use the multi-use trail quite a bit, and a lot of people do. And it's difficult to get across that intersection now with the traffic, even though there's three-way stop. A lot of people are in a rush and they don't like stopping there. We've had a couple of close calls. There's already been at least 2 traffic accidents that I know of at that intersection. If one of those happened to be with a gas tanker, it could be a lot more serious, obviously. So other than all the other comments, I really pretty much agree with that are in opposition. So I'll give up my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Last call? Oh, one more. I apologize.
Have 1.5 speakers.
Thank you. My name is Gregory Larry. I'm 4307 Summer Lane. Like all of my fellow neighbors here, I feel it's not a convenience for us to have one there. Reason being, they spoke about wildlife, they spoke about traffic, they also spoke about for our safety for our children. But they also got to remember, just think about one of our most things that we do have, like she explained, hurricanes. Hurricanes, when everybody get into a frenzy needing gas. And when that happens, you only got 2 lanes on Veterans. And with that, that's going to be a problem for us because we only have two entrances in our neighborhood. One way in, one way out. And 2 ways in, 2 ways out. But that right there is going to cause a problem because just like those folks, as y'all seen on TV, lines and lines of cars waiting for gas to get in there. And with that, that's not going to allow us because they're going to be like, I want to stay in line. They're not going to be courteous to us, letting us out and things of that nature anyway. Also, we have 2 lakes there. We have some strangers coming up in here and saying, hey, it's a lake back there. And you know how it is about the guys that love to fish. Then that means that they're going to come into our neighborhood and start fishing. We don't know if they're a good person or not. But that's going to also say, hey, well, if they're casting out looking at things and saying, hey, well, I know this person here leaves at this certain time, so there goes theft. So that's one of our things. And we always have children playing, like this little girl here. She's always outside playing. And with my child, I have a 13-year-old son, there's other kids that's out there, got kids riding around on bikes and everything. And cars just be speeding already through our neighborhood, and we're trying to control that. With that gas station, some personnel like, oh, I forgot to go get some gas. And they're using our neighborhood as a turnaround. So there's another thing as far as vehicle safety out there. So that's why I feel that this neighborhood, that convenience store shouldn't be right there. I mean, they could have parked, if they wanted something, they could have chose right there at the corner of Veterans and Walnut, right across from the VFW. Why this spot right here? If they wanted a gas station, they could have chose right there. So that's how I feel like. And like I say, my neighbor here walking, there's a lot of neighbors that walk to that park. And that right there is a dangerous spot for just for our neighbors to be able to, be safe at night or during the day just because of the traffic in there. All right, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
All right, we're at the point now where we have staff and commission and applicant discussion. We'll just go down, y'all, further discussion.
it.
Okay.
Okay, well, first off, is there any fish in that pond?
Yes.
I have twin boys, they're 13, they go fishing every day almost.
Okay.
Alligator though, so.
Yes. Every now and then.
Yeah, the pond keeps the alligator out of our pool.
I'm not gonna say that you might see me over there, but don't shoot. Let me ask y'all something, and I'm asking Lawrence. On this right here, the way I understand it, right now with it being zoned industrial, they can put that gas station in there without ever having to come to the meeting. But the only thing they can't do is put up the convenience store? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir. That's what the land use development code, I'm sorry, that's what the land use table in the Unified Development Code says.
Okay, what makes it, like, if they go in there and put a gas station in, what's the difference between a gas station with a convenience, I mean, everybody's got a convenience store with a gas station. I mean, how can they have a gas station without the other?
Well, they could sell gasoline there, but they wouldn't be able to sell cigarettes, they wouldn't be able to sell beer, they wouldn't be able to sell Gatorade, they wouldn't be able to sell Twix bars or any of those
So-
kind of candy.
Well, that's not convenient.
So
That's-
basically, it's a pump.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, that, the reason I'm bringing that up is because the gas station isn't the issue as far as y'all are concerned. As far as what we've got to be concerned with is the convenience store. That's what we're voting on. It has nothing to do with the gas station because the way that it's zoned right now, they could go in there and put those automated pumps in there and there's nothing that anybody can do because of the way that it's zoned. Now, is this a piece that is up for rezoning it? I mean, not necessarily rezone, but
So
are we gonna change it?
the Planning and Zoning Commission always has the authority to recommend changes to zone uses, that you can proactively do it instead of letting a property owner do it.
Yeah.
So that is within your purview. That's not what tonight's about.
Right.
That is within your purview, but I think a valid question in what you might be asking is, the city is currently undergoing its comprehensive use plan.
Yes.
And it's supposed to be picking up, one of the things, the purpose of a plan like that is to find these, we'll call it oddly shaped or oddly located zones, and make it more conforming with the neighborhood. And the land use map kind of shows that that's where the city's going for that area.
Okay,
Mohammed, or maybe Ms. Commissioner Boswell may better know, I don't know how far in the details y'all get on those things.
I'll know tomorrow.
Yeah, I know that there'll be a meeting on Thursday that kind of talks about that, right? Well, the comprehensive plan in general. I don't know how much detail for this section is on. I'm sorry, I said Thursday. Yeah,
It is
the 10th.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's Thursday, okay.
So Mohammed, do you know off the top of your head if this parcel is up for consideration on the comprehensive plan?
I have no idea, but right now it's medium density. I do not expect it to change significantly from being designated for medium
Sometimes
density.
after the comprehensive plan, though, they say we need to rezone this parcel, or this area. Do you know if that's on this proposed recommendation?
This
Oh,
probably.
Florence is back there too. She may also know. Sorry, didn't see Florence. If either of y'all know, I think that that's what the commission wants to know.
yes.
I don't know right now.
Hi, my name is Florence. I think it's going to remain a residential land use. The zoning is probably going to change when we redo the unified development.
Okay,
Okay, so comprehensive plan comes first, then the land use, I'm sorry,
The
zoning districts
Exactly.
inside the Unified Development Code.
Exactly.
Okay. So, in all likelihood, there will be a transition for this parcel. If y'all don't choose to do it yourself, the city staff is making that recommendation, but it is a future item.
okay. That's what I was trying to
Thank
get
you,
at.
Florence.
At that time, I mean, I want y'all to make sure that you got everything in front of you and stuff. I understand that you don't want it in there. I understand about the birds and all that stuff. But realistically, that property's going to have something done to it later on. It may be townhomes, it may be whatever. But I'm just sitting there telling you that that land will be utilized at some point in time. So, I mean, there's nothing we can do about, the only other thing you can do is y'all all get together and buy it. And then you can sit there and say it's a bird sanctuary. But the bottom line is, y'all need to get ready because it's coming.
Well, that's exactly why I said if the cup has to be,
Yeah.
then it should be residential.
We're not.
Understanding that this isn't enough time.
No, it's
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
But, all righty. Well, that's all I gotta say. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that everybody got the right information and understand that things are coming no matter what happens here tonight. There's something going to change as we grow in Pearland. We're not that little sleepy community anymore. You know, we're in the vicinity, we got the Astros. You know, we're a very close part of Houston without being Houston. Thank God. But, all right, that's all I got.
Just want to add a quick comment. Any map amendments to the zoning map and potentially any future conditional use permits would still require public hearings. And y'all be getting notices from us, so y'all be involved in some way or fashion. So it's not gonna happen without those public hearings, so you'll get the notice from us.
I have a question. How come
Can't.
you can't tell us?
I know, it's part
Not
of the,
everybody got a notice.
yeah.
I can clarify that point. So only by state law and by our code, we are only obligated to notify property owners within 200 feet of the property. So if the notification hits the homeowner association property, then a letter will go to them and they will most likely notify the rest of the subdivision. But we're only obligated to notify a certain distance.
Anyone else? Ms. Boswell?
Sure. I do want to thank all of the citizens for coming out and voicing your concerns. They don't go unnoted. It's no secret that I'm not here for gas stations, especially when there are already a plethora in the area. I think it was mentioned that there were 6 within 2 miles, 3 within half a mile. I think that's more than enough, but the plight is that they don't need us for the gas station. They need us for the convenience store. So as everyone was speaking and as I was hearing the presentation, my thought process was, is the owner still gonna wanna put that gas station there regardless? And could the applicant speak to that? Do you know how you would move forward with this land if you don't receive this conditional use permit for the convenience store?
Actually, on behalf of the client, I would like to say, I would ask the question of exactly what does the people want? I mean,
They don't want the gas station.
They don't want anything.
So with that being said, and I don't want to incite conversation because I know that we're not allowed to dialogue, but that was my question. And so I think you as citizens in that neighborhood do need to think about what you want in that area, because something is going to go there. And to points that have already been made, you're in very close proximity to Houston. The city is growing, so can't promise that nothing will ever go there, but can be selective and strategic in how we zone that and making sure that whatever does go there matches the character of the neighborhood that is existing. And to the point that Lawrence made, we do have a meeting coming up that will focus on our comprehensive plan and zoning for that area. And now that you have been so vocal in your concerns for that particular area, I will make sure that that comes up in discussion. And that's all I really have to say, that this is for the convenience store. I don't support a convenience store. That's what my vote would be. I feel like there are enough in the area. It doesn't address the gas station. So I'm not sure, even if we don't approve the CUP, that you'll leave here satisfied. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I echo some of the previous comments, but first off and mainly, thank you for coming tonight and exercising your right of citizens. It means a lot. It means a lot to us. It helps us make the right decisions. And that includes the applicants themselves for showing up and giving a presentation. This is an extremely difficult property to develop. You all see the size and the shape of it. The depth of it itself doesn't lend itself to conventional The conventional, consider Buc-ee's. The store's here and the pumps are up front. That's your typical convenience store with a gas station, right? This site doesn't lend itself to that. It doesn't lend itself to an office, to much of anything. I believe, if I recall the dimensions of that northern piece going east-west, is about 57 or 50 to 57 feet. You can't hardly do anything with that from a development standpoint. So the other thing about this site is I would characterize it as an infill spot. At some point, that road was put in, the land behind it was sold, the neighborhood was sold. You know, this is a kind of an out parcel. We call them infill. There's, you know, it got missed, right? So here we are now, after the homes are here, after a park's there, the detention, we have this small tract of land. And again, as stated, it is going to be developed. Into what and when is the question. I really do feel like we should work with the developers. We should work with owners. You know, the city hand in hand, and we as a commission should consider things. You know, I hate to use that term, out of the box, right? But we should. So that being said, is this the highest and best use? I think if I took a poll here, I know the answer to that, right? It does back up to a neighborhood. And my feeling with convenience store, gas stations, general commercial uses, what I would characterize as general commercial uses, they typically have a buffer between the intense use and the residential. And I think that's what a lot of you are saying. I don't want those lights right next to me. I don't want gasoline sales right next to me. Convenience store, the high traffic things. You know, if you think about other towns, other locations, there's sometimes buffers between them. Sometimes it's multifamily, and I know sometimes that's a bad word. Maybe townhomes, maybe a lighter use, less intense use. And I think, again, this parcel doesn't lend itself to that, right? For the proximity of your houses. But all in all, there are lots of other gas stations in the area, and as I try to think of where they're located and where they're at, most of them are on what I would call hard corners. If you think the Buc-ee's, you go up, there's one on Veterans, and is that Magnolia or Walnut?
There is one on Walnut right up there. There's Buc-ee's, and then there's,
And they're on hard corners, right? And this is not a hard corner. And I get that it's a three-way stop. I get that. But to me, that's not a hard corner. And so, with all that being said, just to claim or state mine, I would have voted no for this. I mean, I did take into consideration the applicant, the infill spot, a difficult property to develop. I want to get there. I really try to get there, but I just can't with this one.
Okay, so if I were to vote on this, I'd be a no. Unfortunately, I feel like the city of Pearland has a lot of what he calls infill spots where they're awkward shaped properties that, you know, commercial realtors sell, and there is no consideration of what the future platting requirements of those setbacks, landscape variances, detention requirements would do. I don't even know how they would make this work. I looked this up just now. This property's in the floodplain, so you would have to mitigate for that. I don't even see how it would work. I mean, even if you guys find another piece of property, I highly suggest look into those matters, because this is very tricky. But even then, I definitely support the citizens in this situation, and that I definitely feel their complaints are valid, and I support that, and so I'm gonna be a definite no. But I do hope that council or the city of Pearland or whomever would kind of look at some of these tracts of these properties and what would we do with this piece of land? Somebody obviously owns it, it's in the floodplain, so what could they do with that?
Work out the area by the track, because everybody's walking the track.
That's-
Again.
So that's, so,
Excuse
and
me,
I'm,
I'm gonna have to interrupt. This is the time for commissioners to speak out.
yeah.
They can speak out, they can ask rhetorical questions. They're not inviting comments at this time because we can't comment a whole gallery and tie that to this quasi-judicial legal proceeding.
Yeah. So my point is, so council does listen to our comments. So, and they really do take our comments seriously, so I think that as citizens, you guys need to come up with some ideas about what you would or would not like in these types of scenarios. Maybe that would help council. But I know that it sounds like I'm asking you guys a question and I'm not directly, but my comments are for council because this is just terrible. It's terrible for the person that owned it and maybe the person that sold the land, they're out free and clear, but it's the person that bought the piece of property and they cannot use it for that reason why they want to buy it, and there's all these development restraints. And so, but either way, I'm a definite no if I had to vote on this. And just as a reminder to everybody, we're not actually voting for this. We cannot vote on these. But we do say whether we would vote for it or not, because that's what council wants us to hear. Or wants to hear from us, sorry. And that's it.
So when I first read all of your letters that came through, I was like, oh yeah, no way it's gonna happen. And then as I've heard more and more from the developer, and I do have a question for the developer, if that's okay. I became torn on the topic. Number one, as a citizen, I don't want a gas station in my backyard. But number two, when I rode up and down that road coming here tonight, I go, yeah, there's an Exxon right there, and there's a Buc-ee's right there, but there's kind of nothing in between. And if I broke down, or if I was at that park and I needed something, some gas or something, because I was out of gas, I would be thrilled to have something across the street. So that's kind of that was my thought process. That was my thought process. So for the developer, my question is, you've heard that there are 6 other gas stations within a mile. Convenience stores, gas stations. What's your differentiator? What would make you unique in the marketplace that would say, we're going to bring real value to this neighborhood?
To me?
Whoever wants to talk.
As per my experience.
Yeah, if it's someone different than the individual that spoke, if you'll just state who you are, your name, and I know you're the applicant, but if you'll just state your name, yeah. Just tell.
As per my experience, I'm working convenience for 20 years, since 20 years.
And what's your name again?
Muhammad Imran.
Okay.
Where I am working, we really protect the neighborhood. In my convenience store, there are 28 cameras around the store. Criminals really beware them. And one more thing, young kids, young girls, and young women, we really protect them when they come in my store. When I said, hey, feel free here, I will protect you. I have 28 cameras and we support the city police and everything. I have a convenience store in Missouri City. They always appreciate me. And I will let you understand, if I will be there, I promise you, I will make a really nice building, really nice environment, and one more thing, I will protect the neighborhood. According to me, I'm doing in Missouri City. Thank you.
Thank you.
But at the end of the day, I have to go with my other fellow commissioners and say, I could not support the gas station part of it. The convenience store, I do agree with Commissioner Boswell, and that you don't have a lot of access to food in this neighborhood, easy access. And not everyone has access to a car where they can easily get in their car and drive to buy groceries. So, you know, it's a complicated topic.
We don't even have sidewalk.
All right, any other comments?
I'm good.
Okay. I'll wrap it up. I mean, you know, the discussion is regarding the convenience store. I'm opposed to it for a litany of reasons. You know, the risk for the citizens in the area, of course, as stated, is what's next. So lots of times we make jokes about it, but the meeting after the meetings, when things get done, if the current landowners, if anyone would like to cordially discuss with them some options that they think are positive that could go in there, it might go a long ways to an opportunity to develop this land that would be beneficial to you, because at some point, unfortunately for you and in the opinion about animals and drainage, it's going to be developed. So, you know, it would behoove you to have a conversation with the existing owners of the property and say, we didn't agree with this project, but in the future, if this kind of a project was to come up, or you knew of a project like this, or a developer or a builder that was looking to build this kind of a product here, at some point, everybody's gonna have to give a little to get something, and the landowner's gonna have to give, because this project is gonna return some kind of investment. You guys are gonna have to give, because something's gonna get built, and somewhere in the middle, there has to be a middle ground where everybody might not get exactly what you want, but it's better for some and okay for others. So, it will, in the long run, we have seen it before. It's happened here many times where there's a project that doesn't, this is the start of them looking at a project. So this is just the start of someone looking at that land to develop. So it would be a great idea, or be beneficial to everyone if you worked in conjunction with them if possible. And I understand the personal feelings, but if you don't want this kind of a product, then find something you would be okay with, and then say, this is what we would like to get behind if it was presented to us and to council. Because from here it goes to council. Mr. Eisberg, Commissioner Eisberg, I didn't hear your official.
No.
Your no, okay. So if we were to vote, it appears we would be 0-6 if we were able to vote for this project as presented. Is that correct? Everybody agree with that? Okay. Okay, that ends that discussion for that item. Since this is a full room, I'm gonna give everybody a minute if they'd like to leave, because it will be rambunctious.
Your full forward to city council will be November 21st.
Could we invite the developer to come to the HOA meeting?
I would, absolutely. That's happened before.
That's where you get things worked out.
That's right. Again, thank everybody for coming.
I hate. With commercial business, so.
It is, I drove past it, I went down Fight Road, looked at that piece of land. We really did a good job. I said, when I drove past it, I went, what the heck is that? I told you.
Oh, yeah, no, I just need y'all's information because I don't have it yet. I appreciate it, thank y'all.
I got some information on it. You know, I'm a big fan.
What's frustrating is when they did the PD and they did that, they shouldn't have left that land out
I
like
know.
that. It should have been, they should have said, no, you need to go get this, don't leave it
You know what
out.
happened is at some point the road cut that little piece out too. I mean, that it follows the road. I bet you it's a leftover piece from road acquisition.
Well, then
So
somebody needs to,
Well,
somebody needs to go get it.
they got their money.
Go get it and put it in the
If you look
park.
at it, it's zoned M1, that piece that's below is zoned M1. Before the pond was there, it was probably all M1, and they
Yes,
peeled off that and left that.
I know, but
Left it on
it
an
got
island.
left and it shouldn't have got left.
I know, I
It should
agree
have
with
been
you.
properly placed. You can't develop there. Good to see you. I'm calling it. I've looked at way too much.
It's gonna go in there.
I don't see anything.
No?
No.
Well, it doesn't have to come to us, but somebody will find something.
Everybody, this is our traffic engineer.
Hi.
This is the P&Z commission. Nice to meet you. What's
I'll
your
do that because I got this call.
Okay.
It's a little different. Yes, thank you for being here. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's not dull.
We're here every other Monday.
From an engineering standpoint, I don't see it happening.
No, you can't. So you're
Not
not
with
have that
flood,
technical
not
background.
with detention,
It is.
not with all the setbacks, not with all the,
With the, when you said stuff about the flooding.
it makes me so mad because those road.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and,
I mean, that's, you know,
we're gonna go ahead and finish up the meeting.
Maybe we can say, hey, that could be a good tax write-off for you.
this makes sense. It's a full moon tonight.
So we're on item number 7, discussion items, commissioners' activity report. Do we have any activities for commissioners to discuss? I would like to discuss one. We took the bus tour. A couple of us did. There is a lot of stuff in this town in the back boonies that needs to get developed, and it's really cool to see it. I've been on PEDC, but you forget that stuff's back in the middle of nowhere. And there was some issues with some things that shouldn't be happening, which was entertaining. And as we're writing, the city staff is writing all these things down, and I'm sure they got phone calls and visitations from staff, so it was interesting.
Compliance standpoint?
Compliance, and yes, there were some projects off of Kirby and Hooper that should not have people on them, and they have people living and things on there, so, yeah, it's interesting, so. Anyone else?
I'm a member of the KPB, Keep Pearland Beautiful, and on the 17th, they have their 40th anniversary, so everybody's welcome. You can go to their website. I know you gotta buy tickets, but it's a really good history of.
Hey, I was the waiter at the, whatever, yeah,
We
you were
were.
too, yeah, waiting tables for that, so. Anything else? Okay, we're moving right along. Planning 2023 submittal calendars. I don't know who has that item.
So it's an attachment. It was just to show y'all what the upcoming submittals are gonna look like, and also so y'all are aware of when y'all need to be here next year.
Oh, okay.
In addition to the calendar invites I sent y'all.
Oh, okay, cool.
So just acknowledgement before you that, we've got the calendars, and so you can just take a look at it and
See
once
one.
it's official.
Okay, all right.
Traditionally, when we deviate from the first and third, we would make sure that y'all are aware of it, and y'all, if we deviate from the first and third Monday, and I think that there were 4 meetings that deviated from the first and third Monday. 2 of them were actually on a Tuesday. So we really want to call that to your attention, because the last thing we want to do is, if we move those meetings to those days, it's because we had to meet the plat calendars. The plat approval within 30 days, that shot clock. So if we plan it for Tuesday night and you can't be here on that Tuesday night, and 3 of you feel the same way, 4 of you feel the same way, we missed our quorum, and then that special meeting that we arranged in
Goes
order
out the
to
window.
proceed was useless, and the plat automatically got approved.
And these Tuesday meetings, both of them are going to be in January.
Oh, okay.
So,
And I'm gone almost the whole month of January.
So, we could pull it up now, but I think you've got calendar invites. And if you've got issues, well, we would just ask that you make sure you plan your vacation accordingly. Commissioner McCaffrey, I'm sorry we missed you.
It's been planned for 2 years.
That's accordingly, we get that, but we need to make sure that we hit our submittals. We need to make sure we meet our 30-day plat approval deadline.
All right. Upcoming joint P and Z Commission CPAC meetings Thursday, November 10th, 2022, and Thursday, December 8th at 6 p.m. at the Dolores Fenwick Nature Center.
and I did send y'all invites for those as well. If you do have any issues with those, let me know. Be attentive to either a phone call or email this week. We are not for sure about Thursday night.
I will not be able to attend.
So the applicant the staff is still working with the applicant on that project, and we're gonna give you an update on that project probably by noon tomorrow. Whether that meeting will be
Okay.
on schedule or not. So that will be tomorrow by noon.
Yeah,
No, I won't be in this Thursday.
Okay,
Me
so
either.
it's good to know that there's
will.
3
Yeah.
people that probably won't be in.
sorry. I must have missed that. I didn't see that.
Shelby, can I get my email straightened out? Would you please send it to my DG Eisenberg? You've
Yes,
been
and-
sending the last couple, but.
And also, after the meeting's wrapped up, if y'all can come over here, I have new passwords for everything.
All right, next P and Z meeting is the 21st of November, allegedly at the PEDC conference room again. Are we showing it back in here again?
Yes, because there's a city council meeting on that same night.
Okay.
Due to the holidays, yeah.
Okay. Does anyone know if they will not be in attendance?
Will that be our last, no, we have meetings in December.
Yes, we have 2 meetings in December, first Mondays of December.
These are the 2, right?
We also have
That just came
meetings
out for
of city
2
council as well.
And the 15th.
Okay, well, sounds like everyone will be here. All right, then I will adjourn the meeting at, I have 7:44.